to reinforce the fact that we're not racist by saying that we're not racist. Guys, do not misconstrue it. We are not racist. What are you talking about, Pierre? Are you high again? Pierre, we told you! You can't be doing the drugs whilst we're trying to... This is why the game is... The French have understood the word from the word go. We were not woke enough to understand that the brotherhood was in fact the brother in a hood. Guess who's medicated? That's right. It's me! And guess who decided to try and record something whilst they're dealing with the side effects of their new medication? That's right! That was also me! Terrible life choices aside, welcome back to the Slop channel. Today, we're going to be enjoying Fleekazoid's newest video in the ongoing shit show that is the Assassin's Creed debacle about how Ubisoft has done the any percent speedrun on how to tank their entire career. Oh boy, who's ready to hear Fleekazoid get all kinds of egotistical about how right he was, and then me get kind of egotistical as well, because we all called it. The only people who didn't know this was going to happen was Ubisoft, apparently, because apparently smelling your own farts is one way to be completely ignorant to the fact that the rest of the world has been trying to tell you stuff was going sideways, whilst you and yourself were like, no, it's fine. And yet, okay, real talk, I thought the game was okay. Yeah, no, it's pretty. Is it a, like, it's a functional game? Is it good as far as Assassin's Creed goes? No. Is it good as far as being a multi-million-dollar, apparently quadruple A game? No. Would you have spent your money on something better with infinitely better quality if you would have gone to the Steam Summer Sales? Hell yes, you would have. What we're saying is, much like your mother, in you, we're just all a little bit disappointed in Ubisoft. So let's see what Fleekazoid has to say about it.
Just practicing my Japanese. Pimps, we did it. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a hit. Our stock is zooming, so it's actually in the free fall. Tell them we got another million players. Hell, make it 2 million more players. Fuck them, they can't prove anything. It works. The stock is skyrocketing because that's what I do. Go get yourself a snail, Pierre. You earned it. You could also have a negative $2,000 raise. Eat shit and die. Hi, we're fleeking over the little guy, and our consultant division was hired a few years ago to help Ubisoft make Assassin's Creed Shadows the smash hit it is today. In fact,
you know, that's a very valid thing as well. Now that they're finally internalizing the failure, because the only thing that really comes between you and your general ignorance is when you realize the numbers. Because much like the numbers, Mason, what do they mean? What are the numbers, Mason? Well, I think that the numbers mean that we are proceeding in a way that is actually beneficial to us. The numbers may be low, but that is because we are low down like the real dogs that we are.
Wait, did you know that we have a Discord and a Twitch? No? Well, now you do. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you click those little links over there and be part of the fun? Just like the rest of us cool kids, you know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about, Pierre? Are you high again? Pierre, we told you! You can't be doing the drugs whilst we're trying to... This is why the game is... You know, internally, on a serious note, I literally wonder... Do you think Ubisoft is going through, like, this internal power struggle where they're kind of, like, trying to find who to blame? Well, it could not have been me. It would have been Pierre over in marketing. It is the marketing team's fault, clearly. I do not understand where they would have gone so wrong. No, not me, the game designer, or the story designer, or the ethically questionable, public relations manager. No.
fact, you're fired. The game was too successful. We can't afford you anymore. Which actually leads me to my next point. A disturbing amount of you seem to think that this major success will allow the 19,000 people working...
Yeah, by the way, 19,000 people worked on this game. And you know, 64,000 people playing a game is pretty good for an indie studio. We're talking about the games franchise that Assassin's Creed 3 and 2 both sold over 8 million copies within the first year. This, as Assassin's Creed goes, is considered a flop. It might have shifted 2 million copies. And you know what? I will say this. It probably will make more money. And it probably will, eventually, make upwards of 4 million. But that's not good enough. That's not good enough for an Assassin's Creed game, especially when you've got 19,000 people working on a game. Why do you need 19,000? You know what it is? It's internal redundancy. It's nepotism. It's overly complicating the philosophy of how you make a game. I've talked about this a lot. You become a victim of your own success. The biggest issue with AAA studios is the fact they're AAA studios. The bigger your studio, the more cogs you have to put in the wheel. And the more cogs you have to put in the wheel, the more likely your CEO is going to stick their fucking in it and fuck it up. The more cogs you have, the more points of failure you have. The more points of failure you have, the more areas your CEO will take an opportunity to blame rather than his own misgivings. It's just the way it works. So you either have to understand that ideology and work with it, or you have to streamline the whole process. Sometimes you have to work with the simplicity of things.
Here to keep their jobs, and unfortunately that's just not true. Notice how that number doesn't say
it's all about
number
redundancy
one in day one earnings? Well, that means
and
we'll be
things that are
laying off at least a
redactive
couple
to this
thousand
whole
Frenchmen,
process.
and we'll be replacing them with several more sweatshops. And just as a little side note on all that sweatshop business, we are deeply disturbed that word got out about that. Why the hell do you think we hired them? Because they tuck them in at 5 o'clock and have an office wine cooler? We already tried that, and look at how that worked out for us. We got Frenchies starting a revolution every other goddamn day. You know what the nice thing is about
God, any
sweatshops?
speedrun how to tank your studio.
To buy picket signs. Allegedly, from what I hear, people say this, I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna middle with you. Thanks to the success of the game, Piendang is gonna get a 2-cent raise on the next one. Of course.
Dude, that's the problem, right? Like, the previous Assassin's Creed games. Oh, dude, I love the previous Assassin's Creed games. Like, number 2 and 3 especially, some of my favorite games ever. I still have them in my library. I even played Assassin's Creed 3, like, maybe a year ago, just to kind of remind myself about how much I fucking love the damn thing. Something about the streamlineness, the flowiness of everything. How you can just one-shot things, how you can just do assassinations. In a game of Assassin's Creed, you can't be an assassin, you can't do anything, and goddamn, they ain't got no pancake mix. And yet, somehow, there are still points in this game that feel like they were made by a very small, struggling indie studio. Like, I'm sorry, but it feels like all of the quality assurance that the previous Assassin's Creed games had got shunted into the ethnically and equality checklist approval system that they ended up using. What I'm saying is that the point of priority wasn't where it should have been.
Of course, that's going to be monthly, though, not daily. The rest of that profit goes to me. I have 3 ex-wives to feed. Speaking of which, you're also fired. My marriage was too successful. I'm getting a divorce. Your salary is going to help me recoup
Divorce yourself from your wife and then get married to money, because we're Ubisoft.
Chief consultant of dumb fuckery was problem solving. The first problem I noticed, too many French people, so I said hit the snail trail.
You know we live in a very fucked up world when Fleekazoid is the only games journalist that we can really trust for an honest review on a game. All the other games reviewers out there, oh yes, well, we've been paid $5 billion by the studio to eat their butt cheeks and to spin the narrative that the game is approvable, yes. But meanwhile, Fleekazoid's like, nah, dude, this game fucking ass.
Pepe's next order of business, we're making this one another RPG. Nothing says Assassin's Creed like walking into a base, everyone's within level range, but then you get to the target and he can one-shot you with a rock. This is fun, as long as you don't know what that—
Why did we have to have levels to begin with? This was the entire thing that pulled me away from Assassin's Creed originally when they added this shit. Like, I get that, like, in the older games... So here's what happened, right? In the older games, the game was linear. They didn't need levels. You just kind of leveled up. Enemies got a bit tougher because they had more armor. There wasn't levels. You were never out-leveled by an enemy. They were just tougher. The second they added this in, what was it, Odyssey? The second they turned it into an RPG rather than an experience, it became so goddamn stupid. At what point does it become completely detractive from being an assassin? The fact that, like, I get it, the main guy's supposed to be more of a warrior, but it's Assassin's Creed, not shunt dove, Coltrane motherfucker through the front door, beat him up, kind of smash him down kind of game. And I think that's the biggest thing that made this problematic, was that it doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game. The leveling system is more of a systematic thing. That's been an issue for ages. And at least in the previous games, even when they added that, you kind of worked with it. And it's still there. It's still the same problem it's always been. But now, rather than having a game, like, at least with the other games, that was the only problem. You still felt like an assassin. The game was thematically still Assassin's Creed. You still felt like an assassin. But now, you have the obnoxious level system that makes everything a bullet sponge, and the poor quality control, and you don't even feel like an assassin. Like, in the other games, sure. Leveling system was bullshit, RPG system was bullshit, but at least you felt like the assassin. Now you don't even have that.
That word means, or what it feels like. Now, on the point of hating our customers, in the Steam review of every Ubisoft game, people are always complaining about how we're forcing a second launcher on them, which is why we're gonna...
You know what that is as well? It's the power fantasy. Assassin's Creed is a power fantasy game, or it was originally. And the second you add levels, the second you add bullet sponginess, the power fantasy goes completely out the window. Because there's no like tangible, tactile thing that you can see that makes you feel like you're doing more. The fantasy of being the assassin, of being able to one-shot things, you are setting yourself up with the expectation that you can run up to a motherfucker, stab them, and disappear into the crowds. And this has none of that. There's no fantasy, there's no power, there's just sponge. There's sponginess. You lost that flow, you lost that theming.
Force a third launcher on him. Fuck him. But it's only gonna be a launcher for all the shitty Assassin's Creed games. I want to make a clear line in the sand.
I can't be the only one who was immensely confused by why they used the Animus system. Like, what happened to the storytelling? Where was the build-up? Like, I miss the original Assassin's Creed games where you get introduced to a character, you get put into it, you have this, like, relatability. You just get shunted into the Animus in this game. There's no build-up, there's no, like, story at the beginning. You just get shunted into the Animus and expect to know what's happening. And I get that that's part of the narrative at this point, but it just feels so artificial at that point. Yeah, like, they literally wrote themselves into a corner. Bring back how the first few Assassin's Creed games were. It was much more of like an ease of approachability to the story because that you had the Animus was a plot device rather than the entire system the plot was built on. Does that make sense? I can't be the only one who finds this whole Animus system to be very grating and obnoxious and detractive to the whole experience.
So that new players don't wander off to a better game that we haven't monetized.
Yeah, they might have killed Desmond, but then bring in another character.
That's a great
Just because you lose a character doesn't mean you can't still make the narrative fun.
Note to self, make the guy's ass bigger than Nawe's. Reminder, we are a forward-thinking company.
Give us big man ass. Big man ass. That's what we love to say.
Forward in our thinking. Hang on, I'm getting cold. Why would you make the dude protagonist also Japanese? We already have a Japanese. Listen, I'll tell you what you're gonna do. Everyone's talking about how they love Brotherhood, right? Well, why don't you put a brother in the hood? Huh?
Okay, you know what? I take everything back. I take it all back. They are geniuses. The French have understood the word from the word go. We were not a bit woke enough to understand that the brotherhood was in fact the brother in a hood. Oh, they will never understand our genius.
It'll be like Twins with Danny D. The fans are gonna love it. They did not. And whenever he fights, I want you to blast the loudest rap music you got. But not in a racist way. We here at Ubisoft are not racist. So in the...
The first words to come out of a racist person's mouth. I'm not racist, but...
least racist way you can. Whenever Yasuke shows up on screen, I want you to be blasting that trap music as loud as you can. And I'm not talking yay. I'm talking straight up SoundCloud trap beat.
Dude, this just screams like the issue we've had recently on Twitter with the whole like VTuber who had like dreadlocks and everything. Dude, straight up, and the only people who actually cared about the fact that Sasuke was black were Caucasian white people white knighting for everyone else. The rest of the entire universe were like, yeah, dude, friggin'. Like, every other black person out there was like, oh, yeah, man, that's some good shit right there. Meanwhile, all the white guys out there like, cultural appropriation.
With a harp mixed in. I want this shit to sound like Lil Ricefield is just off camera with an Ensoniq ASR. And in the cutscenes, when everything should be all quiet and
like
dramatic,
all the people that should have been offended by it were like, dude, no, that's fine, that's great.
That doesn't fit the setting, the scene, or anything. It's perfect. God, these juices are just flowing today.
It's like that VTuber, right?
Somebody, you go make
I don't know if you saw the whole deal with that banana VTuber person, the one with the dreadlocks. Everybody lost their, like, the entire internet lost their shit about it. But in the comments, it was the funniest fucking thing. Like, you ever see that kind of stuff? It's like such a Twitter-pilled problem, right? Somebody posts something that's, like, questionably, like, culturally inappropriate or whatever, you know, a white girl with dreadlocks, and everyone in the comments, all of the people who have that cultural as part of their culture are like, no, that's pretty good because fantasy. They understand the disconnect between fantasy and cuteness. All the people like the best comment was, "I'm black and I find this highly amusing. I find this to be great." Meanwhile, all the Caucasian white guys in the comments are like, cultural appropriation. Absolutely diabolically cringe. And it's like the bunny girl from My Hero Academia. Somebody drew her with a slightly more Caucasian white girl tan to her rather than the tanned look that she has. And it's got 500,000 likes. And it's just, the entire comments are white liberals looking to make a message about appropriation and everything. When, Marika, whatever her name is, like, all it, like, the people who should be offended love it. And the people who are offended, who say should be offended, don't even give a damn. Like, the only problem that's being made is because you get too up in your ass about things. Holy shit. Sometimes, like, say what you will about Assassin's Creed doing that to begin with. Sure, it might be inappropriate, but does it matter? Does it matter? No. As long as what it's being done is fantasy and an experience, that's all that really matters.
Something shinier. You go at 1 million players. God, I'm a genius. Now let's talk about the gameplay. We're gonna do a brand new take on the new system where we return.
You want to hear about the gameplay? It's bad. That's literally it.
To form by changing nothing. Can we all agree on this? All right, nice, but we need to make
my
these
baguette
two
senses are
characters feel
tingling.
distinct but equal, not in a racist way, which is why no ass nah way.
Yeah, guys, we're not racist, but like just make sure that I make it totally clear to reinforce the fact that we're not racist by saying that we're not racist. Guys, do not misconstrue it. We are not racist in any way. Whatever, like, we want you to be secure in the knowledge to know that we are absolutely not racist by doubling down on the fact by we're saying we're not racist to help you understand that we're not racist, to make it sure that we're not insecure about being racist. We're not racist, by the way.
Will be great at everything except combat, and Yasuke will be a little bitch that can't even climb a rock. Unless you don't want him to climb a rock, then he'll be able to climb a fucking rock. I want this man to be like our expert plus difficulty, kind of like that fractured difficulty system. Right around that 15
somehow an Assassin's Creed has quality control similar to Avowed.
Loop. I want to cure that boredom by giving you even less gameplay options. You want a new mechanic? Pull out your credit card. Don't have the money? Find a country with flexible labor laws.
I still believe that this entire game was just a money pull. Like, Ubisoft was going down the shitter, and they just wanted to milk as much money as possible.
We haven't had a new idea come out of this company in 10 years, and I wouldn't want to break the streak. So just make the kick send these rice farmers into the stars! Listen, I got a tea time at 6. We really gotta, let's just stop
Yasuke, slam!
Halfway, all right? But Saul, this is a return to form. Shouldn't we have all these mechanics? You're not even speaking American anymore. Listen, we don't have to worry about putting in the other half of the gameplay because it rains. Besides, people don't want flow. They don't want a unique identity.
That's where the issue is, and I'd guarantee you that's where the problem came with game development. All of the effort they should have put into the gameplay got put into the completely not relevant parts of production. All of that time and effort that should, like, Assassin's Creed is about mechanics. The mechanics are what make you feel like you're the ninja. But all of the money, all of the development that could have been put into the theming of the game about how you play it was put into the aesthetic. It was put into things that were completely not needed. Like, oh yeah, well, we could put $5 million more into making the mechanics better, or we could divert that money to make the blades of grass look 2% more grassy. That's a total great use of our money, right?
They want something that feels like nothing. And I don't mean unique.
You know what it is? It all boils down to the pretentiousness of things. Developers that feel like what they're making is about the message and the art form and making something that is pretentiously more than it should be. They lose the idea of making a game and instead are making something to send a message and to prove a point. That they think they are these avant-garde artists that are going to spread awareness or give attention to the art form, rather than giving us gamers what we want, which is a goddamn game! Guys, at the end of the day, there are two things that gamers want. They want what they look at to be good. They want the game to look good, but the game itself doesn't need to be the thing that looks good. Your character needs to look good. It's like the Concord issue, right? Nobody wanted to look at ugly-ass characters. Gamers and dudes and chicks out there, they want to look at big-tittied anime waifus, guys that look good, not characters that look like they're there to fill a checklist. And after that, if the game looks good, they want mechanics. Sometimes vice versa. So long as the gameplay is good, the aesthetic comes second. But so much time and effort was put into the cultural relevancy of things, was so much into the just nonsensical, like, affirmations within the game that they lost the entire notion of what Assassin's Creed was designed to be. Like, if we remember from, like, the original Assassin's Creed games, even though they were, like, kind of goofy and a little bit comical, they still somehow represented the time period they were in really well. Like, there was that little bit of satire in there, little bit of fantasy. But in this, there's no fantasy. They tried to, like, represent it like it was verbatim of the time. Like, they spent so long in trying to make it so accurate that they lost any sense of fantasy. Just AAA industry in a nutshell. Pretentiousness and losing the plot of what it is that gamers actually want. Gamers don't want a message. Gamers don't want to be told what they want to enjoy. Gamers don't want things to look... They don't want to have to worry... Like, gamers don't care if a blade of grass is 5% more pretty. Gamers want the game to have a good aesthetic and good gameplay. Look at a lot of stylized games, for example. A lot of the small features will look very basic. But so long as the things that the eyes are drawn to are detailed and well made, that's all that matters. You know? Like, you look at, like, some of the games that come out recently, like Helldivers, for crying out loud. Your character and the enemies and the effects look amazing. But if you look at the small little rocks, the trees, they're really not that detailed. That's called priority development. You're putting the time and effort into the things that actually matter!
I want to remind them of that empty void where their soul used to be, so they fill that void with cash shop items instead of combat. The old power fantasy combat made them feel big.
Because the second you start putting all that time and effort into the things that don't matter, you're proving to the rest of the world that you don't understand what people actually enjoy about the game to begin with.
You can't say yes without making it a 10-syllable word. Use that as your inspiration. I'll send you a tape later. Speaking of no flow, let's talk about that stealth right now.
Great example, Space Marine 2. You look at Space Marine 2. They put the attention where it mattered. If you're putting all that time into things that don't matter, you're telling the audience that you think you know what they want better than they do. So then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of you are putting time and effort into something that the player isn't going to care about. So then the player is going to look at the things that they want to look at, which haven't had as much detail in, because all that detail was put into things that they never paid attention to begin with. Then your player gets disappointed because you spent time and money on things that didn't matter. It's a lose-lose. You think yeah, sure, you and yourself as an artist and as a developer have made something that you know looks great, but the player doesn't care. And the player is the one that loses out. And at the end of the day, hey, Ubisoft, guess what? The player is the one that gives you the money.
That assassination button to only work half the time. Half the time I want the prompt to assassinate in Assassin's Creed to either not assassinate or not show up at all. I want half the encounters to play out like this. Did I just catch you trying to assassinate shit?
And that was
I want them to
experience.
stand around with their dicks in their hands, waiting to assassinate in Assassin's Creed. You can assassinate one day.
Like, that was literally, like, if anything, this proves my point, right? There was a very small indie game that came out a few months ago, which was literally just mechanics. The game was so low fidelity, but the mechanics of how you fought were some of the most flowy and ergonomic I've ever played in my life. And I enjoyed that infinitely more than the Assassin's Creed shit. Like, the combat in this just doesn't feel it. That's what made Assassin's Creed 1 great. It was what made Assassin's Creed 2 great, you know? You'd jump off the roof, you'd land on a guy, you'd stab him, you'd disappear into a bush, you'd get out of the bush, you'd stab another two guys, you'd flow through a crowd, you felt like you were water going through a river. In this, you feel like a brick being landed against my fucking cranium.
Ubisoft says you can. Well,
and if you don't feel like an assassin, where's the assassins in Assassin's Creed?
Don't understand. We let them lay down. They don't get anything else. Don't overthink this, guys. These people will buy anything. In 15 years, we'll be selling a JPEG called Assassin's Creed.
And you know, it's really not that big of a deal.
These people would still pay us $90
the problem is,
for it. Reminder,
the game is a multi-billion-dollar game.
When they get near
you have high expectations, and they just didn't meet them.
To distract. Next thing, some guy came up to me the other day and told me we should make a great 12-hour game instead of 80 hours of pondering the rope, so I shot him. But don't worry, I shot him in the game, so it only did 10% of his health. Our games aren't meant to be enjoyed, they're meant to be endured. What are we gonna do, make a memorable short campaign, sell 5 million copies in the first month, and immediately get a sequel like some
Odyssey was where I really lost any
No,
interest in the games.
I want to lock all your abilities behind 50 fetch quests, and when you go to do that meditation quest as a break from all the fetch quests,
so progression's one thing. Even the other Assassin's Creed games did that better.
Fetch quest. Eat a dick. No, not literally, Yasuke. Don't look at me like that. Stop that. I want to be...
Who loves getting their time disrespected? I love my time getting disrespected. At least in a free-to-play game like Warframe, your time's being disrespected because the game's free and you're not spending any of your money, so they monetize your time instead. In this game, you're expected to pay $80 to then have your time disrespected. Yippee!
The fans down with monotony
aren't we such eager sluts for this, guys? Don't we love gratuitous scrotal torsion?
Okay, forwarding vent clouds bundle out of some confused idea that'll bring them joy. Think about it like this. For just $20, you could help me furnish my yacht with high-end Dutch prostitutes. Every day that no one buys a microtransaction, one of our executive goes without a line of coke up his
Whoever they had working on this game lost the plot.
And just punch in your credit card and buy any one of these bundles. Speaking of
obviously that's where the important part starts. I love it when the developers take away development time. Because, like, you think about it, right? Sure, adding in a bunch of cosmetics like that doesn't seem like a big deal. But think about it. Those cosmetics that cost however much to make, that still took some developers' time away from putting things into the game that could have made the game better. It could have. Small little things like that add up. Just like how your small little follow to my Twitch stream will add up to me loving you long time, baby.
Programming has been slowly degrading for the last 10 years.
Like, tell me how the people in charge of Ubisoft didn't care about Assassin's Creed anymore without telling me they didn't care about Assassin's Creed anymore. Like, somewhere down the line, they just stopped caring.
I thought I put that on vibrate. All right, I had some ideas for the story. First off, my wife's had 100 rounds of Botox in our last 2 years of marriage. I haven't seen her emote in years. Use that as the inspiration for the facial animations. I'll send you a tape later.
But I can fight.
Yeah, they know that it's just a cash cow at this point.
I'm already looking at a cutscene
it is the Star Wars of Assassin's Creed.
Sad or needs to take a shit.
Because people will just buy it because it's got the name on it. Showed by the fact the game sold 2 million copies. Don't think, just consume. You're so brand loyal, you'll literally buy Assassin's Creed shit Odyssey. Like, they could put out a game called Assassin's Creed, We're Going to Milk You Now, and you'd still buy it because it's got the name Assassin's Creed in it.
You guys nailed it. Forget what I said. Second, with the GDP of Bosnia invested into this game already, I think the voice acting is where we need to start pinching our pennies in our story.
God! So I got sponsored to play this, right? And I was okay with the combat. I was like, yeah, sure, it's not really Assassin's Creed. The point that it lost me entirely was when I heard that little shitbag talk. Her voice was pretty damn bad. Yasuke's, I didn't mind. But the second that little shitbag opened his mouth, I was like, they just don't care. They just don't care. They care less than Pokemon scalpers care about the ethics of what they're doing with the Pokemon trading card game. Holy!
Focused game. Have any of you ever heard of AI? It's like a digital robot sweatshop. It's brilliant. Future Fleek here. Now, I can't say whether or not we used the AI, but I will say the end result was indistinguishable.
Dude, no, wait. I said this whilst I played it. Some of the characters, especially her, the English characters sounded like AI. Now, we don't know whether that's true or not, but I would not be surprised if her, especially, was AI or AI assisted. I would bet you any money there was some AI used in the voice acting. Because holy crap, some of it was terrible.
From a high-end actor such as Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln. Check this out.
Karate, judo, sumo, samurai. Nissan,
Honda, Mitsubishi, Subaru.
Sorry, my bad. I had immersive mode on. I turned it off. Here you go.
Resentment can grow quietly without much warning after a storm.
Now, on a real note, I want you guys to get your lawyers ready to sue anyone that harasses Ubisoft employees. I want the whole world
I think I just threw up in my mouth slightly.
to know that the only people who can harass Ubisoft employees is Ubisoft.
That's great.
Please, everyone, the applause is really unnecessary. I'm but a humble man to the people. The higher tax
Nah,
bracket.
it's not
I put on
AI,
my
it's just a
Prada
real-
slippers,
it's just a
wooden
real
skis,
fake
leather one
person,
strap
true.
at a time, all right? And that's how I made this game the success that it is today. AC Shadows is such a success that our 18,000 employee company just
Ooh. Ah, damn. That's. Oh, ooh, ow, ooh. Ah, yikes. Oh well.
got cucked by a game developed by one man named Tyler. It's such a success that people can't even run Monster Hunter Wilds, and they're still buying it more than Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's such a success
Can you blame them?
we just shuttered another studio. It's such a success that we just became 10 cents bitch. It's such a success that our stock's hitting 5-year lows. So eat a
And yet still isn't as bad of a plummet as America's stock market currently after the tariffs they've just put in. So at least Ubisoft knows they're not the bottom of the barrel. Get it? Political, am I right?
Chuds, wait until you see how successful we are after Assassin's Creed Crazy Cat Lady drops. Maybe strong feminine energy can take us to new heights.
Are you kidding me? You cannot be serious. They haven't even gotten over the dumpster fire of Assassin's Creed Shadow and they're already planning out the next woke-ass bullshit they're doing. Okay, let's all take a wager. Do we think Ubisoft will be around long enough to even get to this at this point? Because I don't think so. With Ubisoft, like 25% of Ubisoft's new partner company having been bought out by Tencent, I don't see them getting to the point of even making this.
Right here, Jaw. I swear to God, if you don't give this game a...
And that's
you're
it.
doing it again. He's running it back.
Assassin's Creed, truly a depiction of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say that we called it. I hope I maybe put in a little bit of input as to the whole notion going on here. And I hope I wasn't too dopey and my banter wasn't too off the rails, but I hope you enjoyed this video. And I, for one, am glad to say that Assassin's Creed is a starring example about the AAA industry learning their lesson that if you fuck around, you will find out. Join the Twitch, go subscribe to Bleakazoid, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!